Two things. Comedians don't appreciate their jokes being stolen, and Steve Harvey has rubbed several comedians the wrong way. Well, it looks like Harvey has found himself in some trouble again.
So here's what Curry really meant when he said Steve was in trouble again.
So I had a beef on that. He had, and he did all my Halloween material
He wasn't playing. Mark Curry went straight for the jugular and didn't hold back.
It happened to me. To do that, homeboy. Right. So, you know, you made enough money. You made enough, you know, what? Why are you on my material?
He called out Steve Harvey in a bold move that's got everyone in the industry talking.
Still stealing his jokes.
Hey man, listen to me.
Yeah.
Now this, I'm getting sick of this right here.
Yeah.
Mark Curry need to grow. Been on stage since 2015.
And when Steve finally responded to the accusations, let's just say Curry wasn't buying a single word of it.
He didn't know, he didn't steal your, you know, so that there's no need to no one else has did that.
People who've been in the entertainment game for a while know exactly how shady things can get behind the scenes. The showbiz world is full of messy layers, and comedy, that's a whole different battlefield. From people jacking jokes to stealing entire routines, it's cutthroat out there. And according to Curry, Steve didn't just cross the line, he leaped over it. Curry is putting Steve Harvey on full blast, accusing him of stealing his material. We're talking about a man who built a name for himself off humor, now being accused of lifting someone else's work. That's not just shady, it's career-threatening, especially for someone like Steve, whose whole image is about being real, inspirational, and self-made. Curry's throwing serious shade, suggesting that some of the very things fans loved about Harvey's stand-up might not have even been his to begin with. That's wild. In an industry where it's already tough to know what's authentic, this kind of drama hits hard. But what really makes it explosive? This isn't the first time Steve's name has been dragged into allegations like this. Over the years, he's been tangled in a few similar messes, and now people are starting to connect the dots. Curry's claims are just adding more heat to a fire that's been smoldering for a while. The question now is, how much of Steve's legacy is really his? Because if Curry's telling the truth, things could get ugly real quick. Could it actually be true? Is Steve Harvey not the flawless, wise life coach he's built himself up to be? We might be looking at a whole chapter of his rise to fame that somehow never made it into his best-selling books or motivational talks.
Whatever, yeah. Okay. Who took his show? Fucking Kelly Clarkson take your show, home.
Now, usually when someone throws around accusations in Hollywood, it's easy to dismiss them, especially when the person doing the accusing hasn't had much of a career to risk. But that's not the case here. Mark Curry is no struggling comedian looking for attention. He's a 90s legend. Curry isn't some random name trying to get clicks. This man was the Mark Cooper from ABC's hit show, Hangin' with Mr. Cooper. He was already a star back when most of today's celebs were still dreaming of getting their shot. With roots in stand-up, he earned his shine on stages across the world, selling out clubs and packing theaters with his electric energy and wild charisma. But now, Curry isn't on a comedy tour. He's on a truth tour. And it looks like his first stop is calling out none other than Steve Harvey for being a straight-up joke snatcher. That's right. Curry is saying Steve didn't just get inspired by his material, he flat out used it on national TV. Curry's not staying silent anymore. In 2 separate interviews, he exposed that Harvey allegedly took jokes right from his own act and recycled them on his shows. He didn't just imply it, he said it directly. A while back, during an appearance on Fox Soul's The Mike and Donnie Show, Curry opened up about the drama, saying he had major issues with Steve over what went down. In his own words, Steve stole my material on his show, so I had a beef on that. It's not just some backstage gripe. It's being said out loud, on record, in front of the world. And when someone like Mark Curry talks, people listen, especially when he's calling out one of the biggest names in the game. Mark Curry didn't mince words when he said, when he was on his Bulls talk show, he did all of my Halloween material, 1 full Halloween. Yeah, he went there. In a bombshell video dropped by TMZ on Monday, Curry laid it all out, loud and clear. He accused Steve Harvey of lifting his comedy material not just once, but twice.
Is that he used my material on both his platforms.
Yeah.
After I talked to him, I saw him at Def Jam, I went up and talked to him, I said, man, you're using my material.
And we're not talking about subtle similarities. Mark's saying full-on copy-paste vibes. According to Curry, this isn't just hearsay. He confronted Steve directly about the joke theft years ago, but guess what? The joke jacking didn't stop. Curry told the TMZ crew that Harvey reused his stuff on not just the Steve Show, but also on Kids Say the Darndest Things. That's 2 national platforms where Curry claims Steve served up his bits without giving credit or cutting a check. He didn't hold back. "You're taking money out of my pocket," Curry said. "You've made it. You're very wealthy. Stop using my material."
That Steve Harvey stole his Halloween bit because it was a personal story. He was talking about himself growing up.
That's a heavy statement coming from a fellow vet in the comedy game. Mark even recounted a face-to-face moment with Steve. He said, "I saw him. I walked up and told him, 'Baby, you using my material. You taking money out of my pocket. You made enough. You rich. You don't need to be doing this to me.'" But instead of backing off, Curry says Steve used the same stuff again, this time on his kids' show. And people are definitely tuning into this mess. Some fans are actually siding with Curry. One person even said, "I feel his pain. I've been dealing with gameless people like that my whole life. I seen Mark Curry live. He gave you your money's worth." And that last part, that hits hard, because this isn't the first time someone's put Steve Harvey's name next to controversy, and it might not be the last. Everybody ain't hating on him, so there's gotta be some truth to what folks are saying about that dude. That's the word on the street. And Mark Curry clearly isn't alone in thinking Steve Harvey might not be as squeaky clean as he looks on camera. Mark was heated, really heated. Staring dead into the camera, he fired off, "Steve Harvey, stop using my material. Just call me, and I'll tell you how to use my material." That wasn't a joke. That was straight up frustration boiling over. Then Mark took it even further, saying, "If you're gonna steal someone's material, at least do it right." That line hit hard. And just before wrapping things up, Curry revealed he's gearing up to drop a comedy special of his own. No more silence. He's stepping back into the spotlight, and he's not holding back. Now, considering Steve Harvey's entire image is built on being the wholesome, no-nonsense life guru, you know he didn't take kindly to all of this. He came back swinging. Steve flat out denied everything, said it was all lies, and claimed Curry couldn't even name a single joke that was supposedly stolen. "I'm getting sick of this right here," Steve snapped. "Mark Curry needs to grow up." He then hit back with, "Steve Harvey ain't been on a stage since 2015, talking about himself in third person like a heavyweight champ defending his title." When the interviewer brought up the Little Big Shots joke accusation, Steve looked shocked. "Are you kidding me?" His voice got sharper and his tone ice cold. It was clear that the accusation touched a nerve. He kept pressing, saying, "Ask Mark Curry what joke he talking about." Steve didn't stop there. "Get a life, get a career," he snapped. Then he doubled down, saying, "I've never stolen a joke in 35 years.
He confronted you about it before, and then even
And
after
he
that, he used
still
it again.
ain't said what joke it is. Get a life, get a career. Go
Right.
do something, man.
So now it's a full-blown comedy war. 2 seasoned vets, both with reputations to protect. But who's telling the truth? That's the million-dollar question that's got everyone watching. Looks like Mark Curry wasn't just talking, he came with receipts. And once he dropped that evidence, his beef with Steve Harvey hit a whole new level. Curry hopped on Instagram and dropped a now-deleted video that had fans shook. In the clip, he lined up one of his old episodes from his 90s sitcom, Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and compared it to Steve Harvey's show. The topic? A Halloween joke. And the resemblance? Way too close for comfort. In the Hanging with Mr. Cooper episode, Mark joked about dressing up with a brown box to look like a UPS man for Halloween. Flash forward to a 2015 episode of Steve's show, and guess what? Steve delivered the exact same joke. "Every Halloween I had the same outfit on, just a brown box," Steve told the audience before calling himself a UPS guy. Sound familiar? Because it sure did to a lot of people watching. Fans didn't miss a beat, and they started rallying behind Mark. One supporter commented, "I believe everything Mark said about Steve. Mark Curry was always an original. He is truly a legend." And another added, "Mark is not the only comedian that's had problems with Steve Harvey. These complaints go way back, before Steve even had a TV show." So while it might seem like folks are just piling on Steve, it's deeper than that. People genuinely respect Mark Curry, and when he speaks, they listen, especially when he backs it up with side-by-side proof. And the truth is looking a little shaky for Steve right now, because this isn't just one joke, one clip, or one moment, it's the pattern that's got people questioning how much of Steve's comedy is truly his own. And when someone like Curry, who's been in the game for decades, pulls out the archives, that's not just shade, that's straight up exposure. Mark Curry's first step into the TV world came way back in 1980, playing Tim Barker in 6 episodes of the comedy Sounding Brass. But it wasn't until 1992 that he really caught fire, when he landed the lead role as Mark Cooper in the hit family sports sitcom Hanging with Mr. Cooper. That show was a major game changer for him. Hanging with Mr. Cooper ran from 1992 to 1997, clocking in at 101 episodes and earning 2 awards from 9 nominations. It was a huge moment for Mark, especially considering he'd only made small appearances on screen up to that point. But this wasn't just any role, it was a primetime spot, and it delivered big. In its debut season, the show pulled in a massive 14.6 million viewers and even tied in ratings with none other than The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. That first season helped cement Curry's spot in the pop culture landscape of the 90s. The show did so well early on that ABC moved it to its legendary TGIF lineup, home to some of the most iconic sitcoms of the decade. But unfortunately, Hanging with Mr. Cooper couldn't hold on to that early magic. Behind-the-scenes changes, like character swaps, new showrunners, and constant time slot shakeups, took a toll. The series struggled to maintain a steady rhythm, and over time, the ratings dropped.
My man, what's it like to be on television? And I tell him, I said, it's live. You know why? Because on television, you can do whatever you want to do. For example, if I wanted to thunder and lightning, I could do that. Watch.
By season 5, it was clear the show couldn't bounce back, and it was officially canceled after airing just 13 episodes that final season. Unlike other shows from the golden age of black sitcoms, Hanging with Mr. Cooper didn't quite leave the same lasting imprint. It was syndicated on networks like BET, Nickelodeon, and Paramount, and even hit streaming on platforms like Hulu and Max, but it never reached that timeless classic status. The tough part, while Curry had a solid run, he didn't get that one breakout series that would carry his name across generations. And in Hollywood, that kind of long-lasting recognition can make all the difference.
My theme music.
Compared to long-running classics like Full House and Family Matters, which saw their casts make major comebacks with younger generations, Mark Curry's spotlight never got that same second wave. Even though Hanging with Mr. Cooper made him a household name in the 90s, his post-sitcom career never quite hit those same heights. After the show wrapped, Curry popped up here and there. He did 2 episodes on The Jamie Foxx Show in 1998 and later appeared in 6 episodes of The Drew Carey Show in 2000. Then in 2005, fans got a surprise when Mark played Max Cooper in Fat Actress, the edgy comedy created by Kirstie Alley. He starred alongside Alley, Rachel Harris, and Bryan Callen in the series, which followed an actress trying to navigate fame and body image in Hollywood. It was a standout project, but sadly didn't gain long-term traction. After that, the TV roles slowed down. He only appeared in a single episode of House of Pain in 2008, in the episode titled Reunited and It Don't Feel Good. But Curry didn't disappear entirely. In 2003, he hosted Animal Tales and BET's Coming to the Stage. A year later, he showed a different side of himself on Celebrity Mole, Yucatan, where he made it all the way to second place, losing only to Dennis Rodman. By the end of 2008, he was still hustling, performing stand-up at the Lollapalooza Comedy Festival hosted by Tracy Morgan. From 2009 to 2011, Curry stayed active by hosting Foxhole Live at the Conga Room in LA every Monday, broadcast live via satellite radio thanks to Jamie Foxx. Then in 2012, he joined the Royal Comedy Tour, sharing the stage with other big-name comics. And many who attended said Mark stole the whole show, delivering non-stop laughs and reminding everyone why he was a fan favorite. But back in 2007, Curry nearly lost everything. A freak accident happened while he was doing laundry. An aerosol can fell behind a water heater and exploded, burning his arm back and side. It was a scary moment that could have ended everything, but Mark pushed through like a fighter. As part of his recovery, Mark Curry had to spend 3 days in a medically induced coma and months more healing at home. But the physical pain wasn't even the worst part. Whether it was the frustration of never reaching that A-list fame, the trauma of the explosion that burned 20% of his body, or a mix of everything, Curry was in a dark place. Real dark. He even admitted he thought about ending his life, but thankfully he had some real ones in his corner. Legends like Richard Pryor and Sinbad who helped pull him through that storm. After the healing process, Mark slowly found his way back on screen, mostly through guest spots. But his first major role post-accident came in 2012, when he played a comedy writer in See Dad Run, staying on for 3 full seasons. It wasn't a huge return, but it proved he still had that spark. Looking back, it makes sense why Curry feels so strongly about his material being stolen. For years, eyes were probably watching him, studying his delivery, his jokes, his timing, without him even knowing. Which could explain how someone like Steve Harvey could recycle his bits so easily without getting caught for so long. And speaking of Steve, let's be real, Curry calling him out for joke theft is just one chapter in a much bigger book of controversy tied to Harvey's name. Most people recognize Steve Harvey as one of the biggest names on TV, a polished host with charm and suits for days. But what many don't know is how he really climbed the ladder. Born in West Virginia, Steve started grinding in comedy clubs back in the early 90s. His big break came hosting Showtime at the Apollo from 1993 to 2000. Then in 1997, Steve hit the road with comedy heavyweights Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hewley, and Bernie Mack for the Kings of Comedy Tour, a cultural phenomenon that later became a movie in 2000. From there, Harvey didn't stop. He launched the Steve Harvey Morning Show in 2000 and made his film debut the same year in The Fighting Temptations. The man built an empire, but not without a few clouds following him. Eventually, Steve Harvey had to step away from stand-up, not because he lost his edge, but because he was booked everywhere. Between his radio show, TV gigs, and brand deals, comedy had to take a backseat. But in 2022, Steve finally admitted the real reason he quit stand-up. And it had nothing to do with being too busy. While promoting a new show, the 66-year-old comedy veteran revealed that cancel culture made it too risky for him to keep performing live. He was blunt about it. Today's political climate is too tight for a comedian with sponsors to really speak freely. Steve said, "The only way I can do one more special is if it's the very end of my television career, because it will end my television career." That's a heavy statement from someone who once ruled the stand-up stage. These days, Harvey is most known for hosting Family Feud and a string of other shows. But before all that, he was the face of Showtime at the Apollo and dropped several successful comedy specials. Still, the game has changed and Steve knows it. "We're in cancel culture now," he said. "No stand-up that's sponsor-driven can say what they want anymore. Chris Rock can't. Kevin Hart can't. Cedric the Entertainer can't. D.L. Hewley can't." He added, "The only one who can say what he wants is Dave Chappelle because he's subscription-driven, not sponsor-driven." Harvey made it clear. If he had tried to keep his stand-up career going in today's climate, it would have been a wrap. "Political correctness has killed comedy," he said. "Every joke you tell now hurts somebody's feeling," and he wasn't done. "People don't get it. Comedy has to be about something. It's got to be about somebody. We can't just tell jokes about puppies and bushes all day. Real comedy comes from real situations and real people." So will Steve ever hit the stage again? Maybe, but only once he's ready to hang up his TV crown for good. "If I come back," he said, "I'll have to wait until I'm done. And I'm not done. I want to do one more. I'll probably have to call it This Is It." Until then, Harvey's staying in his lane, racking up hosting jobs and staying out of trouble, or at least trying to. But here's the kicker. While Steve Harvey claims he's just busy grinding, it seems like part of keeping his plate full might include swiping material from other creatives and passing it off as his own. Just like Mark Curry exposed, and even though Curry came with receipts and Steve denied it all, that denial isn't sitting right with everybody. Why? Because it turns out, if the whispers are true, Steve's rep might be even worse than what Curry laid out. Let's rewind back to the Kings of Comedy Tour. That legendary lineup included Steve Harvey, Bernie Mack, Cedric the Entertainer, and D.L. Hewley. On the surface, they looked like a solid brotherhood of comedy giants. But behind the curtains, it might have been a whole different vibe. Steve was known for his polished suit and tie style of comedy, but also for being the most aggressive comic when it came to roasting audience members. He'd go after people's hair, outfits, jobs, whatever he could grab for laughs. Meanwhile, Bernie Mac had a totally different flavor, raw, sharp, and fearless. His material dove deep, often blending comedy with cold truth, hitting people in the heart and the gut. And apparently, Steve didn't like that. Word on the street is that Harvey may have been low-key jealous of Bernie Mac's impact, and that jealousy brewed into serious tension. According to a recent comment from someone close to the crew, that beef wasn't just rumor, it was real. The internet is lighting up over what seems like confirmed friction between two comedy kings. When Cedric the Entertainer was asked about it, he didn't dance around the question. Yeah, he said they were both alpha males. They just saw it different. You know what I'm saying? He added that despite the clash, they managed to work through it. But you could tell there was more to that story. Back in a 2003 GQ interview, Bernie Mac himself spoke on it. He didn't hold back. He claimed Steve Harvey was jealous of his rising fame and even tried to block him from landing certain movie roles. Sabotage? That's a serious accusation. And it's one that's resurfacing with a vengeance now. So if you thought Curry's claims were wild, this might just be the tip of the iceberg. Sound familiar? Yeah, people are starting to connect the dots, and it looks like the mask might finally be slipping. Folks online haven't been holding back either. One commenter said, "I never liked Steve Harvey. People always pointed out how fake he's been, and how he always had this superiority complex over other black comedians like Bernie and Cedric. Woo, the streets are talking, and it's getting louder by the day. That whole Steve's above the drama image, it might be on its last legs. With all these allegations piling up, from joke stealing to behind-the-scenes beef, it's starting to look like the industry might be catching on to who Steve really is. But what do you think? Is this just another case of haters making noise, or is the truth finally coming to light? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next drop. More wild stories and celeb drama coming your way. See you on the next one.